First, and this is a Fox News alert. Felony charges filed in the Jussie Smollett case, and the main suspect isn't a MAGA hat-wearing Trump supporter as initially thought. It's Smollett himself.
Was this alleged hate crime all just a hoax? It's starting to look that way. The breaking developments as the actor is about to face a judge. And bracing for another migrant caravan at the border, this one heading right for the area where Beto O'Rourke wants to tear down fencing.
We are live on the ground with what officials are doing to curb the crisis. And it may be the dead of winter, but things are heating up because Victoria's Secret bathing suits are back. Six bathing if you're a girl.
Poor guy. Fox and Friends First continues right now. On this Thursday morning, I'm Rob Schmidt.
And I'm Jillian Mealy. As always, thank you for starting your day with us. Let's get right to this Fox News alert and more information continuing to unfold. Empire actor Jussie Smollett charged with a felony for allegedly staging a hate crime attack. He's due in court for a bond hearing in Chicago this afternoon.
Yeah, prosecutors say that he filed a false police report claiming that masked men put a noose around his neck, poured chemicals on him, and shouted, "This is MAGA country," along with racial and homophobic slurs. All this allegedly happened in downtown Chicago. If convicted, Smollett could face 3 years in prison. His attorney says at this point he enjoys the presumption of innocence.
The bombshell charges come after surveillance video came to light showing a pair of brothers buying red hats and ski masks hours before the alleged attack. Those brothers have been questioned by police and have claimed that Smollett paid them to stage the assault. Their lawyer says the actor needs to come clean.
I think Jussie Smollett should come clear because the truth will set him free. I think that Jussie's conscience is probably not letting him sleep right now, so I think he should unload that conscience and just come out and tell the American people what actually happened.
Empire producers are reportedly considering suspending Smollett from the show as this investigation continues to unfold.
Keep it here. We'll keep you updated throughout the day.
Sure. All right, no matter the outcome of the Smollett case, investigators have spent a lot of their valuable time combing through all this evidence.
Chicago anti-violence activist Tio Hardiman says this has all taken much-needed attention away from the real problems facing the city.
If Jussie, staged the attack, he's dead wrong because he's receiving all the attention, and we just had a 1-year-old child, a toddler, shot in the head named Baby Chase, and he's not getting any attention, and we have a 14 to 16% homicide clearance rate, and if Jussie is guilty of the charges, he's dead wrong because he's taking much-needed attention from a serious problem in Chicago. I've been in Chicago all my life, and like I said, I've never, ever heard of an attack like this, and Jussie should stop playing games with the people if he's wrong because he owes everybody in Chicago an apology. Yeah. Where's the news that about people being killed? He's taking resources from much-needed communities where violence is running rampant out here.
More than 180 people have been shot in Chicago so far this year.
A big update here. The FBI's former top attorney wanted to charge Hillary Clinton over her private email use, but was talked out of it. Fox News confirming that James Baker's admission came in for James Baker, and the admission was in closed-door testimony on Capitol Hill.
And he continued to battle, according to his own testimony, with people in his office, along with Comey as well. He had these arguments going back and forth until the very end.
All right, despite calling Clinton's private email use alarming and appalling, Baker told lawmakers he was convinced to change his mind after arguments with senior colleagues. The FBI has consistently claimed that top officials agreed with former Director James Comey's decision to not pursue charges against Clinton. That might be falling apart now.
Special counsel Robert Mueller's probe is expected to wrap up as early as next week. Sources telling Fox News that recent shakeups at the Justice Department are a sign that the investigation is winding down. Meanwhile, President Trump is slamming the former acting director of the FBI, Andrew McCabe.
I think Andrew McCabe has made a fool out of himself over the last couple of days, and he really looks to me like sort of a poor man's J. Edgar Hoover. I think he's a disaster.
McCabe has done several TV interviews recently where he's opened up about launching investigations into President Trump and alleged Russian ties. He's even suggested the president could be a Russian agent.
A brand new wave of migrants arrive at the Mexican border ready to cross into the U.S. They're now camped out near the same existing border fencing that likely 2020 presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke wants to tear down.
Griff Jenkins is live on the ground in Mexico with the caravan as those migrants prepare to start their day. Good morning, Griff.
Good morning, Jillian, Rob. Yeah, the Casa del Migrante here in Juarez is full at capacity, in part because a new caravan, yet another one, has crossed 1,000 or more in the southern border of Mexico. They clashed with officials and now are on their march north. But part of the other reason why this is full is because in Piedras Negras, the place where I spoke to you last from the border, they have closed that shelter and moved it over, some of the people over here. And that's why the border cities along the southwest border are being flooded. If you look at the numbers in El Paso, just across the bridge here from us in the U.S., they are having unbelievable numbers. They're up 478% increase in apprehensions. If you look at this year's fiscal year, just the last 5 months, it's 43,238 compared to only 7,481 this past year. Now, this is only one of two shelters. We went in the other shelter yesterday. You can see it's the same scene. Migrants crowded, some families, some individual men, but it's the same thing where they're trying to wait to get into the United States, either legally or illegally. We spoke to one of the migrants, Randy Davidson, and I asked him about Beto O'Rourke's comments about taking down the wall. He says, bring that wall down. Listen.
When you hear the Democrat candidates say, take the wall down, there should not be a wall, how do you feel about that?
Very comfortable. I guess if you ask many people here what they feel about that, they're going to say, that's like very comfortable.
Take the wall down.
Take the wall down.
Now, yesterday, DHS Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen, guys, was down in El Salvador meeting with the countries there, the Northern Triangle, trying to get some sort of agreement to try and stop the root cause of why so many migrants are coming. Rob, Jillian?
All right, Griff, back at the border. Thank you so much.
A Coast Guard lieutenant accused of plotting a mass terror attack on the U.S. is due in court today. Prosecutors say Christopher Paul Hassan had a hit list of possible targets, including Democratic leaders and journalists. He also wanted to kill every last person on Earth. The self-proclaimed white nationalist stockpiling 15 firearms with more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition in his basement in Maryland. He's facing weapons and drug charges, but officials say that's just the tip of the iceberg.
The Trump administration is refusing to allow an American ISIS bride back into the United States. Hoda Muthana left Alabama to join that terror group in Syria in 2014, and now she is begging to come back home with her 18-month-old son. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says she's not even an American citizen, writing in part she does not have any legal basis, no valid U.S. passport, no right to a passport, nor any visa to travel to the United States. Her attorney denies that claim, saying that she is a citizen. They say she was born in New Jersey after her father finished his job as a diplomat, which would have barred her citizenship.
Stay tuned for more on that. Florida lawmakers are considering a ban on sanctuary cities. The bill has moved through the first committee. It would require all local law enforcement agencies to cooperate with federal agencies if they arrest someone with an immigration hold. New Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has vowed to put an end to sanctuary cities.
All right, 9 minutes after the hour, the Bob Mueller investigation appears to finally be coming to a close after nearly 2 years at this point. Also, a new confession from the FBI's former top lawyer that he wanted to charge Hillary Clinton for her emails, but was talked out of it. Texas Congressman Louis Gohmert live to weigh in on both those stories coming up.
Plus, how about this one? Honest Abe is honestly hot? I can't make this up. A steamy statue that is causing quite a stir online. Stay tuned for that story. Should the Mueller report be released while you're abroad next week?
That'll be totally up to the new Attorney General. He's a tremendous man, a tremendous person who really respects this country and respects the Justice Department. So that'll be totally up to him.
All right, nearly 2 years later, and the Mueller probe may finally be wrapping up.
New reports indicating the special counsel could be ready to submit his report on Russian collusion as early as next week. So, what can we expect?
Joining us live to talk about this, Texas Congressman and House Judiciary Member, Representative Louis Gohmert. Thank you, sir, for coming on this morning. When this all started off, we were promised Russian collusion, treasonous, stealing an election with Vladimir Putin, and it's all about to come to a head. What do you expect?
Well, I expect Mueller to want to drag this out even further if he possibly could, but 2 years is a long time to drag it out. But what a dream job for him. He had just been begging President Trump for to appoint him FBI director again, and when he didn't get it, he felt a bit abused, and so then he gets to investigate the guy that wouldn't hire him. So a dream job for him. He was involved with his FBI director with Rosenstein when in the real Russian investigation over there trying to illegally get access to our uranium, which they were successful in doing with the help of Hillary Clinton, and the Clinton Foundation, of course, benefited. But so the longer he can drag these things out, the more limitations will run out. But there has been no Russian collusion except by Hillary Clinton and Steele and all of those folks that were using the Russians to get dirt, even though it was fabricated. So I don't know. I don't think we can expect a lot from the new Attorney General. He's close friends with Mueller, and his wife is close friends with Mueller's wife. I know a lot of us would like to see the truth come out, but as long as Mueller is involved, and as vindictive as the man is, he's shown it over and over again, I don't think you can expect too much in the way of justice. It'll be just us applying to him and his cronies.
But even if nothing comes out super juicy against the president as far as Russian collusion goes, you still don't expect that to be enough for the critics, do you?
No, it won't be enough for the critics, but you've noticed here this week the comments about what to expect have been trying to utilize the thing that's made me successful to the limited extent I am, and that is low expectations. If they can just set the expectations lowly enough, then people go, well, that's better than we thought. So they've been saying, it's not going to satisfy people. But I'm guarantee you, Mueller is going to use the report to slap at Trump and his administration any which way he can. It won't be enough for the Democrats, but it is going to be rather snarky, I can promise you.
Sir, you go after, Bob Mueller pretty hard there. It's worth noting, though, he does have a pretty good reputation in Washington and is known as a straight shooter and a Republican.
Rob, that's with people that haven't paid attention to what he did. I did a 48-page article on his history. I was really nice to him the first time I questioned him as FBI director, but then if you go back and look, he ran off thousands and thousands of years of experience at the FBI. He wanted non-thinking people that would just salute the flag and go forward. They cleaned up the FBI so that you didn't have anybody that really understood radical Islam. They purged the training materials so we had agents that didn't trying to be truthful on these things, and it just highlights the fact that Comey was not being honest and forthcoming when he said, no reasonable prosecutor. He didn't talk to any prosecutors, but of course there was evidence there, and it should have been pursued, but we've seen what happens. If you step forward and say, we need to investigate Hillary Clinton, pursue these charges, then you're not going to be long for the world there. We have seen that in other things that Mueller has handled. So I think the report, it's going to go beyond the low expectations that are being given for it, but it's not going to touch Hillary. It's going to protect her as Mueller did all along.
Well, okay.
All right.
It's quite a
I
prediction.
wish I could be more optimistic, but you got to look at who the players are.
That's your
Mueller,
perspective,
Weissman,
and that's why we brought you on. We appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much.
Congressman, thank you.
Thanks, Jillian. Thanks, Rob.
It is 19 minutes after the hour now. Colin Kaepernick settled his grievance with the NFL for him as an icon. The New Jersey everyone is talking about, not the state of Jersey.
Good clarification. A liberal lawmaker embroiled in a coffee controversy in the midst of a mission to find Kaepernick in a modestly snowy New York. He stopped to take a jab at President Trump. Social media calling out this tweet. Carly's going to explain all of this coming up.
From Hollywood star to suspect, Jussie Smollett now charged with a felony as his story about an alleged hate attack continues to spiral.
Carly Shimkus with Fox News Headlines 24/7. Sirius XM 115 is here with the reaction online.
Wow.
Boy, this story.
My
Everybody can't get enough
Now
of
a felony charge. This is obviously a huge topic of conversation on social media, and the sympathy has really left the building for him at this point. People are angry. Stephen, summing up the thoughts of many, saying, I do care that this will make it much harder for victims of actual assaults to come forward and to be believed. Aaron, showing a bit of sympathy, though, says, I just want to know why. What's the reason for this? He's clearly a confused young man. I hope he gets the help for whatever it is. But Eric saying, great news, make an example of actions like this. Filing a false police report can be charged as either a misdemeanor or a felony. In his case, he was charged with a felony, which sort of gives some perspective as to how seriously they are taking this. He's facing 1 to 3 years, and he's got that bail hearing at 1:30 p.m. Central Time today. He still maintains his innocence, though.
Yeah, this whole thing is
If
wild.
it's false, it goes so much beyond just the report. I mean, the GMA, the crying on the interview. I mean, if it's false, it's the most phony thing
I mean,
I
it
can
was
recall seeing in
political,
a
it was
long
racist,
time.
it was homophobic. Like, there's a lot going on there.
Unreal. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see how this turns out.
Totally.
All right, Eric Swalwell, California Democrat, pretty
Looking for
decently
coffee.
likable guy, but the lamest tweet ever. I mean, so wimpy. In this
Listen, he turned a trip to go to Starbucks into this political statement, tweeting this. It's snowing in New York. I need coffee. The closest cafe is inside Trump Tower. This is me walking to an alternative. Well, now, folks on social media, they're roasting him. At least conservatives are. Like Lisa Booth,
This
who
one's
says,
funny.
please, it's New York. There's coffee shops everywhere. You just wanted to post about Trump and being dramatic. Sad! Exclamation point. Robin tweets, advice. Take the high road and tweet positive thoughts. Avoid petty, negative comments. And Williams says, Congressman Swalwell is a true hero. If you don't believe me, just ask him and he'll tell you so. I liked Robin's tweet about taking the high road. That's a pretty lonely road in the land of Twitter.
Yes, it is.
Not too many cars on that
why I
one.
barely
Is
tweet
there a high
anymore.
road on Twitter? I haven't seen it yet.
That's right. Hard to
We'll
find.
try to find it for you.
Find it, yeah.
Okay, so I don't understand how a statue is causing this much of a stir. Carly, please explain.
Time to make Rob uncomfortable.
Hey, we do it every day.
A bit of renewed interest in our 16th president, courtesy of this tweet that says, reminder that the Los Angeles Federal Courthouse has a statue of Abraham Lincoln where he's a shirtless young stud, suggestively tugging at his waistband like a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. Abraham Lincoln like you've never seen him before. Ned tweets,
my God.
honest abs. Alex says, the Gettysburg undress. And JD tweets, Bay Lincoln.
This is where social's fun.
Look at
Absolutely.
that. Bailey. That's a good one there.
You know, I'm sure that when you woke up this morning, you said, all right, we're going to talk about Mueller, we'll talk about Smollett. A shirtless Abraham Lincoln, I have a feeling wasn't on your
It
list.
wasn't on the
Yes,
list.
there you go.
No.
Today,
From the images I've seen, that is a very flattering statue. Good old honest.
it's called Young Lincoln, if you want to Google it for later.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Carly, thanks a lot. 26 minutes after the hour, Empire actor Jussie Smollett now charged in an alleged hate crime on himself. If this turns out to be a hoax, the question is, why would anybody do this? Coming up, one attorney tells us some possible motives behind his actions.
I'm in love.
Pizza lovers, rejoice. You don't have to feel guilty anymore for wanting to eat it for the most important meal of the day. We'll explain.
Top headlines this morning, starting with a Fox News alert. Empire actor Jussie Smollett charged with a felony for allegedly staging a hate crime attack. He's due in court for a bond hearing in Chicago this afternoon. Prosecutors say he filed a false police report claiming masked men put a noose around his neck, poured chemicals on him, and shouted, "This is MAGA country," in downtown Chicago, along with saying other racial and homophobic slurs. If convicted, Smollett could spend 3 years in prison. Next, special counsel Bob Mueller's probe expected to wrap up as early as next week. Sources telling Fox News that recent shakeups at the Justice Department are a sign the investigation is winding down. It's unclear if or when the report would be made public. That'll be up to Bill Barr. And finally, a brand new wave of migrants arrive at the Mexican border, ready to cross into the U.S. They're now camped out near the same existing border fencing that potential 2020 presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke wants to destroy in El Paso, Texas.
Today, Roger Stone heads to court to address a threatening photo of a federal judge. President Trump's former advisor has apologized for posting the picture on Instagram showing Judge Amy Berman Jackson next to crosshairs of a gun. She's now considering whether or not to revoke his release or his limited gag order. Stone has pleaded not guilty to lying to Congress and witness tampering in the Russia probe. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez responds to a critical billboard with a clip from The Office. The giant Times Square sign reads, quote, "Amazon pullout, thanks for nothing, AOC." The Job Creators Network group putting it up as the Democratic Socialist praises Amazon for canceling plans for a New York City headquarters. Ocasio-Cortez tweeting overnight that the sign is like a billionaire's version of this scene from The Office.
We have bubblegum shrimp, red lobster down there. You know, this is the heart of civilization right here.
Ocasio-Cortez trying to express that she thinks the Times Square sign is out of touch with real New Yorkers. The attorney representing the Covington Catholic students suing the Washington Post says the lawsuit is not just about money. Lynn Wood says Nicholas Sandman's image is tarnished.
Think about what this young boy is having to deal with at age 16 when the entire world saw him the way the media portrayed him as literally the face of evil. It is inexcusable, reprehensible conduct by the media. And the Washington Post led the way.
Sandman's $250 million lawsuit claims the Post published a series of false and defamatory stories because he was wearing a MAGA hat. The president tweeting, quote, "Go get them, Nick. Fake news."
Check this out. A rare snow-nado touches down in New Mexico. Look at this.
The funnel is spinning around, clouds, it's snowing, and it's... Oh my goodness. Ugh. It's just right across from my house.
Kind of hard to see. But...
Yeah, a rancher totally shocked, as you can tell by the weather phenomenon, and you can see the wind a little bit there whipping up snow into the sky above a Navajo reservation. Janice Dean joins us now with what to expect around the country. I actually had a dream that there was a tornado outside my window last night.
That is a very rare occurrence. I'm sorry to hear that, Jillian. But you know what? To see a snow tornado, extraordinarily rare. Same dynamics as a water spout. Even, tornadoes, the same formation, the same dynamics. So incredibly rare, a very incredible sight. Let's take a look at the current temperatures. 9 in Minneapolis, 38 in Cincinnati, 33 in New York City. That storm system that brought the snow, the rain, the ice, the low is exiting the coast, but we still have this frontal boundary. Along this frontal boundary, we're going to see several more inches of rain. So flash flooding is going to be concerned from Louisiana up towards Kentucky. That will be a big story. Then our next big weather maker moves into the west. Why is this different? Because it's going to bring incredible snow across the southern Rockies. So we have winter storm warnings as far south as Tucson, Arizona. They could get 1 to 3 feet on the Mongolian Rim, the southern Rockies area, parts of Colorado. So this is a big deal to see this kind of snow this time of year for the southern Rockies and the Southwest. Then we're also going to see the potential for more snow for the upper Midwest and the northern plains. So bottom line is, winter is still here.
Yes, it is. Janice, actually, you and Ainsley were in my dream, and we did find shelter, and the tornado flattened the building above us, and we were safe underground.
I know. I just remembered all this.
I need to get you a therapist.
I mean, we need to have drinks after this show.
You know what? I think we are.
I think we are.
Janice, thank you so much.
You're
We're not
welcome.
going to talk about dreams anymore on this show.
Just reminded me.
All right, let's get into more important things like this. Chicago police now officially approving him for felony charges for filing a false police report.
Yeah, Jussie Smollett, the Empire star, sitting down for a tearful interview, claiming at one point his opposition to the president had made him a target for his MAGA hat, the president's MAGA hat supporters.
Why do you think you were targeted? I can just assume. I mean, I come really, really hard against 45. I come really, really hard against his administration.
So here's a question. Is it possible for Jussie Smollett to also face hate crime charges himself? Joining us now is expert insight is attorney Lisa Garber. Thanks for your time this morning. There's a lot to unravel here right now. We understand that he could be facing up to 3 years in jail as a result of all of this. What do you make of it?
Yeah, it looks like Jussie has taken the dramatics off the small screen and now into real life, unfortunately, and he's in a lot of trouble. And part of the issue is not only this felony charge of falsifying a police report, but down the line we could see obstruction of justice charges. There are potential felony charges for wasting the Chicago Police Department's time. And then there's also the issue of the threatening letter that was sent. Did he mail it to himself that contained a mysterious white powder? So that could reach the federal level.
There's a whole slew of things that were done wrong here, if we have to say, if it does in fact turn out to be a fake claim that he made, which it's starting to appear that it was. Reasons for doing this. I mean, obviously, everybody knows his name now. And in the acting world, your Q rating is so important.
Definitely.
Why do you think he did it?
I think there are a couple different motivations that spot. At the same time, one might think maybe he's trying to really promote causes close to his heart, racism, homophobia, things that he's dealt with most likely in his own personal life. But then at the same time, it looks like he's pretty anti-Trump, so that might be part of the issue as well.
I don't know. It just kind of seems to me like a cry for help, like there's something else going on.
Why would somebody create a hoax? Not only is it wasting time and money, but it's also it's really causing a huge distraction for victims that are suffering right now.
Yeah.
It's this is a sick move if true. Again, it would be a very sick thing to do. It's not the first time we've seen something like this against Trump supporters, though, right?
Definitely not. If you look back, there are hundreds of hate crime cases against Trump supporters, and you can look right now in the news with the Covington High School student who's facing so much backlash and bullying, and that is something that is so despicable because the 16-year-old's reputation is now tarnished for life. Even if he wins this court case, every time you search his name, you're going to see these charges affiliated with being a Trump supporter. The newspapers are really drawing a comparison, racism, homophobia, all of these behaviors. And so this is something that's gone back for years and years. And this Smollett thing is just something else to add.
I think that the reason people are so angry right now about this whole thing is because of what this does for people going forward who actually experience hate crimes.
Exactly. And it's something that's really different for this administration. If you look back, there are hundreds of cases, different people trying to show this anti-Trump agenda, and it takes so attention and time and money away from victims that are actually facing hate crimes. There are so many more real hate crimes than hoaxes, and he's done irreparable damage.
And there's a value in victimhood now. I mean, you become a celebrity in a lot of ways. You fire up the GoFundMe, you get $1 million. I mean, there's a real reason to make stuff up, and that's what's scary.
And hopefully he will face jail time if this is true, and it could ruin his career.
Yeah, he would have to be an example.
He's supposed to face the judge today. Thank you very much, Lisa.
Thank you.
39 minutes after the hour, this is quite rich here. Democratic Socialist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez campaigned on affordable housing.
Every day gets harder for working families like mine to get by. The rent gets higher. The affordable housing is not sufficient.
But now she's got a pretty big salary and moved into a luxury apartment complex that doesn't offer affordable apartments under D.C.'s affordable housing program.
And rejoice, it may be the dead of winter, but things are heating up because Victoria's Secret bathing suits are back. Don't go anywhere. Good Thursday morning and welcome back. A suspect opens fire on a deputy, turning a traffic stop into a deadly shootout. In dramatic body camera video that may be hard to watch, the newly released video shows suspect Javier Hernandez Morales firing a gun at Deputy Riley Jarecki before she fires back and kills him. The California deputy was not hurt. She's now on administrative leave.
Jeez, look at that. That is unreal. All right, 2 women busted at the border with drugs duct taped to their stomachs. Agents in Arizona say the American citizens had nearly a quarter pound of fentanyl on them, worth more than $50,000. They were both arrested and turned over to Homeland Security. Wow.
All right, a Fox Business Alert now. A major privacy group demanding answers from Google over a hidden microphone planted in one of its devices.
Tracy Carrasco from our sister network Fox Business here with more on a possible privacy invasion. Hey, Tracy.
Good morning. Yes, the Electronic Privacy Information Center sent a letter to the FTC demanding it take action against Google. This after Google admitted it made a mistake in not disclosing that its home alarm systems, the Nest Guard, have microphones in them. All of this came out when there was a software update that Google said, hey, your Nest Guard is now voice activated. And many people said, well, I didn't even know it had a microphone. There were no indications of a microphone in the technical specifications. Google said that it wasn't meant to be a secret, that the microphone on Nest devices is turned off by default, only turned on when the user activates that voice-activated system. But a major issue, as you can see.
So, everyone, I'm very excited about this. Victoria's Secret bringing back its swimsuits.
Yes, the popular swim line. They got rid of it back in 2016 because they wanted to focus on the athleisure and lingerie. Really popular. A lot of people liked it. So they announced they would be bringing it back. They tweeted about it earlier this week, and they have been posting pictures of the swimwear line on Instagram. So just in time for spring break, in time for summer, this will be available starting next month.
They are the best. They're the best.
Good price point.
Yeah, I'll just keep on kidding myself on this one.
Oh, you expressed it earlier.
Yes, I did. Tracy, thank you so much. I'm going to do it again. 45 minutes after the hour, Colin Kaepernick just settled his grievance with the NFL. They gave him a reported $80 million. Unreal. And now Nike is honoring him with a new icon jersey that a lot of people are talking about.
But first, let's check in with Brian Kilmeade to see what's coming up on Fox and Friends. I'm sure you're going to be talking about that too, Brian.
I think so, Jillian. Ultimately, you'll make that decision. The question is, how many other people get $80 million at least and not play football for the last 2 years?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And by the way, no one admitted guilt. It just said he gets all that money. Unbelievable. Other things going to be talking about, the Mueller probe could be wrapping up as early as next week. I know what you're saying. Are you kidding me? Finally, it's almost been 2 years. We're going to discuss that, as well as some interesting things that are developing underneath. Why was Hillary Clinton not prosecuted? Joining us in studio, former Attorney General of the state turned Senator Josh Hawley will be here. And Judge Andrew Napolitano will be talking about the Jussie case and where he went, why he didn't show up yesterday, and what kind of trouble he will be in as the Empire actor finds himself looking at prison time. Dana Lash will be here, as well as Michelle Malkin. Plus, it's heartwarming video going viral with more than 8 million views. You got an Army sergeant surprising his wife and newborn twins flying home to Kansas from Kuwait. They're alive, and they're going to be joining us for their very special reunion. Don't miss a minute, and I urge you, as a final public service announcement, watch the show fully dressed.
Thanks, Brian. We're coming right back.
All right, Democratic Socialist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez campaigned on affordable housing during her successful 2018 run for Congress.
We need to start exploring housing as a right, housing as a basic commodity that we should all have. Every day gets harder for working families like mine to get by. The rent gets higher. The affordable housing is not sufficient.
Well, according to a new report, the champion for the working class is living in a new luxury apartment complex, despite her shouts against high-end real estate.
Joining us now to discuss, senior policy analyst at the Independent Women's Forum, Patricia Onwuka. Thank you so much for coming on this morning. After all she said during the campaign, to not live in a mixed-income housing building in D.C. seems incredibly hypocritical.
Well, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez does not walk her talk, obviously. I mean, I get it. She's like the Jefferson. She's moving on up. She's living in a complex that apparently $2,000 is the average cost for a single one-bedroom apartment. So very pricey neighborhood. And that's fine if you can afford it. But get off your sanctimonious high horse about the types of apartments that people should be living in and how it should be paid for, and the builders that build it. She, in fact, is feeding into the boom of luxury apartments because she's giving into these developers who are able to charge what they can. She's willing to pay that price.
And don't you think a lot of the public can read through that message here?
They absolutely can. I mean, it's one thing when you're out there campaigning on affordable housing, which is good. It's important that people can actually afford where they're staying. But it's another thing when you're not able to live up to those expectations. And the optics are really bad. Look at a lot of other members of Congress. What do? They're not living in the Navy Yard at a $2,000 apartment. They're living like a broke college student. Living with other members of Congress in a row house, almost like an alpha house, or maybe they're finding, maybe they're even sleeping in their own offices. And she, on the other hand, is demonstrating that she's not really fiscally responsible. But again, it's her money, it's her choice. She does, though, need to be realistic and not, practice what she preaches.
When you look at the idea of mixed income housing, where some people pay more so that other people can afford to live in their neighborhood, I mean, it is anti-gentrification. I mean, that idea of mixed income housing is everything that AOC is. And it's just incredible that she managed to find one of probably not that many buildings, a building in a neighborhood that's been getting lawsuits because of gentrification, and she chooses to live there. It blows your mind after all the things she said.
She's a millennial. She's young. This is an up-and-coming part of D.C. Very vibrant, lots of young people. And interestingly, I think Politico is reporting that there are lots of Trump administration staffers who live there. But I mean, she wants to be part of this young, vibrant environment. And that's fine. That's totally fine. But be sure that your message about affordable housing and demanding that it takes place in every city is consistent with what you're practicing yourself. Now, by the way, a lot of liberals, a lot of leftist politicians do this all the time. They say, send your kids to public school. We don't believe in voucher programs. We don't believe in school choice. But you ask them where they send their kids to, and it is an elite private school.
Yeah, it's a lot of that going around. Patrice,
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
We're coming right back. Nike releases a special edition Colin Kaepernick jersey days after he settles his grievance with the NFL. The Kaepernick icon jersey costs $150.
The former San Francisco 49ers quarterback gained national attention, of course, in 2016 when he refused to stand for the anthem, protesting racism and police brutality. A Nike spokeswoman saying, "We believe Colin Kaepernick is one of the most inspirational athletes of this generation who has leveraged the power of sport to help move the world forward."
And comments have been pouring in on social media. Jim on Facebook writes, "Buy Nike, bought my last product of that brand."
Instagram user says, "Since it's already out of stock, I'd say it was great for business."
And Kevin on Facebook posts, "It is not iconic, it is a disgrace." Time for the good, the bad, and the ugly. First up, the good. Pizza may be a healthier option than cereal for breakfast. According to a nutritionist, pizza has less sugar and more protein than most breakfast cereals, so it can satisfy your hunger longer.
That's true. Cereal does nothing for you.
Nothing.
Next, the bad. A college student accused of creating a drug-selling app disguised as a game. Investigators say Colin Howard sold cocaine and other drugs on an app called Banana Plug from his California home. Pretty clever.
And finally, the ugly. A reporter learns the hard way to stay far away from traffic in the snow. Watch this. That's not as good as Steve Keeley from Fox last year, though. Laura Parrott gets completely soaked by a passing snowplow in Virginia. Remember that one? Yeah. The video's funny. Google it.
We've all had that happen.
Yeah.
And here's your pizza for breakfast.
Yes. Enjoy, everyone. That looks like it's been through the ringer.
It's all right. See, pizza. I don't know if I believe that.
I don't either, but I'm not going to question it.
But the cheese has some protein in it. The cereal has a lot of sugar in it.
This is a study I've been waiting for my whole life.
This is left over from Hannity last night.
I was going to say, we're doing some brand stars right now.
Pizza. It's congealed.